so we're back again. We'll change colors to swap it up. So big thing that we'll also talk about is poverty. And so there's a couple different ways to think about it, right? Is that typically when we think about this, we think about you being broke and being, if you've ever had the privilege of being broke, right? You're always hunting for money, can't do anything, and you are like short on resources, can't go out, can't see the world. It limits activities, and depending on how broke you are, this could really make it difficult to pay bills. It could be difficult to have food, heat, air conditioning, what we're calling AC. It could be difficult to do, really like anything. Maintain your home, buy a home, access to healthcare, and so on, right? So, lack of money, it is stressful and annoying, to say the least. It can be also depressing, and really, it's not really good for anyone to be like broke, right? Like at no point is everyone like, yeah, you know what? I'm really glad that I'm like super broke, right? I mean, like, maybe people just want to be at a level where they don't want to be fabulously wealthy, but being like broke, like I haven't eaten in 5 days broke or something like that is it's a very different story, right? And so when we find out about like things related to poverty, though, and so when we think about poverty and low income as a source of crime, right? There are people who are just like broke. So they are absolutely poor. Or there are people who are relatively poor. So maybe they're not poor in the sense that they have money, they have a job, but in comparison to maybe like to neighbors or to other people in their community or maybe their peers, these people are broke. Now, is that like true? And there are different ways that we can think about this. We're not really going to get into it, what these definitions are, but just know this kind of things exist. And so when we think about like for these types of crimes, right, what do we find for poverty areas, right? So, or families that are poor. So, important thing to keep in mind, right, is, look at a different color. Ooh, I can make my own colors. All right, so number one, being broke does not equal make you a criminal, right? It isn't a crime to be broke. Many people experience it, and just because that you are broke doesn't mean you're a criminal. It also does not mean that like, poverty or being broke does not mean that there is this straight path to criminality. So not only does it not make you a criminal, it also does not necessarily put you on a pathway to become a criminal, right? So let's get that out of the way, right? Because, I'm sure all of us at some point have been experienced where we're broke, and we've all done things where, like, I'm not really like a criminal or I'm going to commit criminal acts or anything like that. This color's like too dark. What about sweet baby chartreuse? So we have like that kind of nuance, right? We do know that poverty and crime tend to correlate, especially in areas with high poverty tend to be areas with high crime. So that leads to an empirical question then. And this is especially going to be, true for things, of course, like street crime. Also true for violent crime. And it also leads to areas, right? What about property crime, though, right? Is it true that poverty-stricken areas have higher property crime? Because they may not, because if everyone's broke, it's not really a great property crime place, right? Or violent crime, why does it lead to more violent kind of stuff? If it's just street crime, like disorder and like little petty stuff, maybe that doesn't matter, right? Or something like that. Point being, right? So there's also this nuance here. We also know with poverty crimes, right, is that this is typically, we're going to maybe see more drug dealing, not necessarily use, but drug dealing crimes occur. But also, there's not going to be like white collar crime. So what I'll call WC or water closet crime. So with that in mind then, what is the message we get out of this? What is something that we learn from this? What is something that we figure out, right? So again, when we have these established patterns of crime, then why does poverty and crime seem to be related? Because again, they don't have to be. And so some of the courses and theories that you'll take will kind of explore this issue a little bit, right? Is, what is it about poverty itself? Is it the fact that someone's poor, or is it poverty itself? Or that leads to crime? Or is it something more like there's poverty, and then this leads to mystery factor, and then this leads to crime? Or if we expand it further, right, this is just for illustration purposes, is if we have poverty, right, we know this leads to some behavior, and then there are people here who, commit crime. But then there are also these people here who are not criminal. Or, if you look at different areas, why would this be the case, right? So we see there are these different pathways that could possibly exist, and all of these are true, right? And so different, again, as we've already said, right? So again, always consider why is there crime? But also, how does the theory explain why there's no crime? Right? So, if you maybe this would be great for a little pack back kind of thing, right? But consider why exactly is this the case? Why is this an issue? Why does this exist in the world? And so on. So we'll end that here. These again are just supposed to be something that's supposed to keep y'all sort of questioning and have help bring a bigger understanding to the course and so on. Okay, so we'll chat in the next video, and then I'll see you guys